and welcome to the very first episode of the Hitting the Crew podcast. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeremy Brener. I'm the executive producer of Hitting the Field, at least the acting executive producer for now. But so this podcast is the second podcast of our newly created podcast network, where we're trying to give people in Hitting the Field an opportunity to use the podcast studio that we have here at the Nicholson School of Communication Media at the University of Central Florida to really express their talents and to discover them. And this podcast, the music that you just heard was from Jeremy Taché, who was the former executive producer of Hitting the Field. And Jeremy created a culture here, or was part of creating a culture at Hitting the Field that was very family-oriented. And that's part of the reason why the show still exists to this day. Jeremy also wrote the music to the theme song that we did. I think that was part of the reason why I wanted to use it, because I knew that Jeremy would love this idea of doing a podcast, and he's very, very high on the growth of Hitting the Field from where it's been to where it's going. And I know that I'm one of those people that have helped that because I believe in his vision. Jeremy and I were never ever together on Hitting the Field. His last semester was the semester before my first semester, but I felt that there was no better person to have as the first guest for the Hitting the Field or Hitting the Crew podcast than Johnny Jackson, who I feel is a part of that mission that will bring us forward after I pass the torch. So,
Thanks.
Johnny Jackson, how are you today, brother?
I'm doing good. All my classes are done. Honestly, the biggest thing that happened to me today was I didn't realize just how fun of an environment the newsroom is.
Yeah, we have fun in there. I mean, I have fun in there. But I mean, like, part of what thing, like, I think part of what my MO is, at least in being the EP, is creating an environment, creating a network that people feel comfortable and people feel like they can, share. And that's what this podcast is for. We're here to share experiences, share, what brought you here? How did you get here? Why are you here? And what are you going to do moving forward? And what shaped you? And I think, and that's what we're going to, I mean, we know each other. We know each other by name. We know each other, by some small things. But this podcast gives people a chance to really get to know who is behind those, that pesky old Hitting the Field over there. So Johnny Jackson, we're going to take a roller coaster into your life,
Into my brain.
into your brain. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to get to know people and just to, figure out why you're here and to kind of cultivate, that. And hopefully maybe, people are listening to this and see, hey, these are some good people Hitting the Field. And I do believe we have some great people here, both talented in not just the sports realm, not just the TV realm, but in other realms as well. And I want this to be a platform for people to express that as well. So it's a very big day for Hitting the Field. And Johnny, it's great that you're part of it.
I just feel so grateful to be a part of Hitting the Field and Hitting the Crew. Because, I mean, you may have seen I know you like the tweet, but it's Hitting the Field. You guys were my first friends at UCF that were more than just like, hey, person next to me in class. And the way that I'm here, I just feel so lucky. So last semester in my SLS class, I showed up late because I had a dentist appointment. And my professor, he was like, all right, we're going to pick on you because you showed up late. Show up on time and you won't have to...
Be picked on, yeah.
Which I don't really have a problem with being picked on by the professor or being, I don't know, put up on the spot.
You're not the shyest person in the field.
Definitely not the shyest person in life.
Yeah.
But no, so he goes, what's your major and what do you want to do, like, while you're in university.
So what is your major and what do you want to do at university?
Technically, I'm journalism pending because I don't even have enough credits to apply to the program.
This is true.
But so I said, my name is Johnny Jackson. I am a journalism major pending technically. And I don't know what is here for journalism. I don't know what clubs, what activities I can do besides, the generic internships, the shadowing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Nightly was. I'd never heard of Nightly.
I mean, when I was your age, I didn't know what it was either. So,
and so I got so lucky that Crystal Tisme was sitting next to me.
Shout out to Crystal.
And she said, "Oh, I have this club that I joined. You should join it." She didn't say anything about what really it was. And so I joined the group me. I texted Jarrett, who now we work together every weekend, and he's just an amazing person and a really good friend to me.
Shout out to Jarrett.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's like, "Hey, come join." And so that was right before the hurricane. So we came back from the hurricane that Friday. So I show up in this building. I got so lost. I got so lost trying to find this room because it's just 152B. I have no idea that's in the studio. I have no idea where I try to look at the signs. I get so lost, and I find Yance, who I didn't know at all. That's the first time I've ever seen Yance. I'm like,
"Hello,
hey,
sir.
Do you know what HTF is?
Hello.
Where they are?" He's like, "Oh, hitting the field." I was like, "I don't know what that is."
You didn't even know the name of the show. Wow, I didn't know that.
And so he pointed me. He goes, "Let's go that way down the hall where the thing is, but the studio is." But I still don't know where the studio is. I don't know how to turn. So thank all that is holy for Colin Smith.
Shout out Colin.
Colin Smith. He saw me in the hallway. He saw me looking like an idiot and being lost. And he's like, "Hey man, are you looking for something?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for HTF. Do you know what that is? Like, where's the meeting?"
Oh, I think Colin knew what HTF was.
And so Colin's like, "Oh yeah, I'm with them. Like, let me show you." So Colin walked me, and I remember seeing you, Jeremy, and Connor, and Jarrett, and Troy, and Armand. And I don't think that meeting, there weren't that many people at that meeting.
No, there were not. Not compared to what we got now, but
yeah, but it was just so fresh, so like warm, the environment.
Yeah.
I just felt like, it's gonna sound really cheesy, but I instantly felt like I could be a part of this just from like experiencing the vibes and the energy that was in that room.
Oh, for sure. And a lot of what you're saying is kind of how I felt when I first joined, because I joined a little bit later than you did in your life, and
you're also 3 years older than me.
This is true, but also I'm not on trial here. You are. So
I'd be a
just
terrible lawyer.
I want you to kind of just, where did you grow up, and how many siblings do you have? How is your family large? Your family small? And what sports what was your sports background growing up? I mean, I know, but I want the listeners to know.
So my family. So my father, both my father and my mother have been through 2 marriages. And my father, from his first marriage with Susan, I love Susan. Susan, you're a sweetheart.
Shout out Susan.
So them two had my oldest brother, Brandon, and my older sister, Leah. And
shout out Brandon. Shout out Leah.
Like people say like, "Oh, they're your half," but no, they're not. They're not my half siblings.
Yeah.
They're my siblings.
And how much older are they?
Oh, God, ages.
They're older. 10, 15 years?
At least 10 years. Probably 15.
Okay.
Brandon is probably 31? 30, no, I think he's like 33-ish.
Okay.
And Leah is like late 20s.
Okay. All right. So a lot older than you.
Leah, you're on Twitter a lot. I'm sorry that I don't know your age. I'm so sorry.
All right. So
happy birthday.
So Brandon and Leah.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Leah.
Oh, well, it's technically, it's the 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're recording this on the 29th. We'll go out on the 30th, and Leah's birthday's on the 31st. So happy early birthday to Leah. We don't know how old you're turning, but happy birthday.
And so then my father, with his second marriage with my mother, Kim, they had my older sister, Marissa, and then me.
Okay. Shout out Marissa.
Yeah.
Shout out Kim.
And so...
Kim Jackson. Kimmy J. Kimmy Jax. K-Jax.
My father's name is Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Hey!
Yeah. But
Michael.
He was born in England, grew up there, went to Israel for a little bit. That's where he met Susan. and they came to LA. So a lot of people ask me why I live in Florida and I'm a Dodgers fan. So I grew up around like some Rays baseball, but I would describe myself as a kid as a nerd who happened to play sports.
Okay.
Like I was into like
I can relate to that.
I was like into like the video games, like the anime, the music.
I cannot relate to that.
No, but I remember it was in like probably 6th or 7th grade. My brother it was like probably like DVD burners were a big thing, so he allegedly, sorry, legal team.
Allegedly.
He allegedly may or may not have like burned like 2 whole seasons of Dragon Ball Z onto DVDs for me for one of my birthdays.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah. And that's one of the big things I remember. One of the big things about Leah, so she works at Riot Games now. She works in esports. She's part of like their content team.
Yeah.
I remember she would go, so it would be probably like midnight, 2:00 in the morning. She'd play World of Warcraft all night. Mm-hmm. You know, you just hear like, holy, like just a bunch of swearing.
Holy expletive.
Yeah, holy expletive. Why aren't you do your effing job? I shouldn't be dying here. Don't let me effing die again, you mother effer.
That's a lot of expletives.
And then she'd just walk out of her room. Just like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to grab a water. Do you guys want anything?
It's like Hannah Montana. I got 2 lives.
And I would just look at her and be like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Little Johnny Jackson, scared out of his mind.
How old were you when that was going on?
Oh God.
Like 6?
I want to say like
6, 7, 10.
Anywhere from like 6 to 10, I feel like.
Okay.
But
so you mentioned you were born in Maryland though.
I was born in Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay.
And then we moved.
But you didn't stay there very long.
No.
Okay.
But like my mom's mom still lives up there.
Okay. So you go back and visit
Yeah.
like, okay, cool.
It turned like a Christmas thing. The last couple Christmas, well, not this past Christmas, but a couple
you
Christmases
do Christmases
before.
up there? Yeah.
So we would all kind of converge because Brandon, my oldest brother, he lives in Boston.
Okay.
Leah lives in LA.
So you got
Marissa lives in South Carolina.
Jeez.
So every Christmas, that was really the time when we would all get together.
And you're the youngest.
I am the youngest. I am a little baby.
So Marissa, how old's Marissa?
What? Okay, it's
how much older is Marissa than you?
She's 5 years older than me right now.
Okay, so
she's 24.
So she's 24. Okay. So I mean, how do you think growing up for you would have? How like you had 3 very older siblings.
Yes.
How did that affect you growing up? I mean, would you have changed it? Would you have liked to have a younger sibling? Like, what was it like for you being the youngest of 4?
My brother never really lived with us for an extended period of time. He lived with us for a little bit, right after he graduated college, I think it was.
Okay. So you were...
So he wasn't really live with us, but I would describe him as more of a mentor figure.
Mm-hmm. Like an uncle?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, because of like the age difference. Yeah. But like he is my brother. He helped me out with a lot. Like whenever I need anything, I know that I can go to him and get honest answers. Mm-hmm. Leah, I feel like I'm closer with Leah than like, this is gonna sound awful, than I should be. If you think about the age-wise, because I feel like I'm...
Then you would expect...
Then I would expect
a relationship of that caliber.
Yes. Because like this past summer, I went out to visit her in LA for the week. We had like a great time. Like she took me to like the Getty, which is a giant museum, which is an awesome museum. Took me to like a Dodgers game, which is like, go Dodgers.
Yeah. So let's talk Dodgers.
Yeah.
Why not? Why the Dodgers?
So...
Why the Dodgers?
My dad, when he first came here from England, came to the States from England.
Mm-hmm. How old was he?
Him and Susan, 19. It was in the 80s.
So was he like...
He was like, I want to say like 20s, 30s, late 20s, early 30s, I want to say. I could be wrong, but...
Because my dad also immigrated from...
He was born in 56, so do the math.
Oh, okay.
24.
My dad was born in 66.
24-ish, 25-ish.
Okay, yeah.
And so...
So he moved to LA.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Israel.
No, it was England, Israel, LA, Maryland.
What happened to Israel? Have you ever been to Israel?
I've never been to Israel.
Neither have I.
I feel like I'd like to
Is
go.
he Jewish?
He's Jewish.
Ooh, so we can go on Birthright. Nice. All right.
Can I go on Birthright?
Yes, you can.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can go on Birthright. I can go on Birthright. We got to plan that trip sometime.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's
know
do
what
it.
Birthright is.
It's like a free trip to Israel.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
Who pays?
the company.
What company?
Birthright.
Oh my god.
It's like because it's like your birthright
To go
to go to Israel.
I think I like to go when there's less violence.
You would think that, but every person that I've talked to, because I mean, being Jewish, I know a lot of Jewish people that have been on Birthright, and that travel to Israel frequently. It's very safe. It's a lot safer than you would think. And I had those same thoughts when I was growing up. But I was also, I'm more inclined to go now. Not saying I'm going now, but the idea sounds more tempting every day. And now that I know you can go, maybe we should go.
We can take Ross.
Ross can go?
Ross and Troy.
Troy? Can Troy go? I don't know. Maybe Troy can go. We'll find out when.
Troy's Jewish.
Maybe. Is he?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Troy's Jewish.
What?
Did you
When?
not-
No, I did not know this.
What?
No, I did not know this.
Oh, man.
I guess.
I know something that Jeremy doesn't know.
We'll have to figure this out.
It was at the basketball. Oh, it was the basketball game you weren't at.
He's Jewish?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The more you know.
Or he said he was. He might have been. I don't think. No, he doesn't. He's Jewish. Troy's Jewish.
That's crazy.
I love Troy.
That's a lot. I can't. That's a lot to process. Okay. All right. But no, this is not Troy's episode of Hitting the Crew. This is Johnny Jackson's episode of Hitting the Crew. So,
Focus on me.
dad in LA.
Yeah.
So then he moved from LA to Maryland.
So he found baseball before he found football because my family is Redskins fans, but me and my dad are Dodgers fans. Mm-hmm. So I think he went to one Angels playoff game in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, they made the playoffs in the 80s a couple of times.
Yeah. I know he went to one. He said they lost and it wasn't a very good game. It was a blowout.
Oh, okay.
But he's a Dodgers fan, so growing up, I didn't really follow sports, but I would say until I was in, honestly, probably like 8th grade or 9th grade. That's when I even started following a little bit of sports, and I followed the Rays.
Mm-hmm. But
And
you played sports.
I played baseball from like T-ball up until the end of high school.
Okay.
But I was just never really interested in the major league side of the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Until actually probably about like 7th or 8th grade is when I really started getting into it, because I played for this team called the Central Florida Red Raiders, and we used to go on trips every summer to like summer trips. We went to
Like travel ball.
Yeah. So one of them we went from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh to
It's like a road trip.
Louisville. Yeah, it was like a 3-week road trip. It was awesome. And so my coach actually coached Andrew McCutcheon when he was like younger. And so it was, I remember the game. I think it was the Dodgers playing the Pirates.
That'd been pretty
The
cool.
Dodgers either played the Reds or the Pirates, because I remember
You saw the Dodgers on the road trip.
Yeah.
Cool.
I remember one of my best friends, Caden Reeves. So there's
Shout out, Caden.
Yeah. So so it was like in BP, we're in the outfield trying to catch home runs.
Yeah.
And he jumped in front of one of the other kids on our team,
Rude.
Smitty, to catch a
Smitty.
Yasiel Puig home run ball.
Rude.
And then got it signed by Clayton Kershaw.
Nice.
And the anger from Smitty.
Yeah, I'd be pissed
It was
if I was Smitty, too.
absolutely insane, because Caden's a Dodgers fan.
Yeah. That's
And-
crazy.
But then I saw Andrew McCutcheon after the game, like, talk to my coach and give him a sign back, because he hit a double off the wall into like a second or third at bat, I think it was. And so he just
So it was Pirates.
yeah.
Okay.
I know it was the Pirates. I think it was either because we stopped for a game.
Oh,
in
okay. So
Cincinnati,
maybe.
too.
Okay. So you.
I think
okay.
it was the Dodgers.
All right. That's unimportant at this point.
No, but I remember
yeah.
him giving him the bat, and that was like one of the times where I was like, "Whoa, this is cool. Sports can do this. Like, sports can keep people connected through decades."
Mm-hmm.
That was insane to me. So that's one of the times I really started watching Rays baseball, because it was like, on after
Your
school.
local team. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so my mom's favorite baseball player, Kevin Kiermaier.
Shout out Kevin Kiermaier.
He just has dreamy eyes.
He does.
So I followed the Rays for a little bit. then it was like a little bit before all of the, because I watched a couple Dodgers games when they weren't starting at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Because even now, I don't like to go to bed after like 11.
So you're like
I'm an old man.
You're an old man.
I'm an old man.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And so it was really when they started trading everybody where I was like, I don't know, but I always liked Clayton Kershaw.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I feel like at a certain point, I forget exactly when it was, but at a certain point, I followed the Dodgers because of Clayton Kershaw. And then I found Justin Turner, who was awesome. I found Corey Seager, who was pretty cool. Justin Turner is great in the community, too. And I found Yasiel Puig, who is just so electric in everything. And it was just so fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And the Dodgers really drew me in with that. And watching Clayton Kershaw at the height of his peak was something that I can't really explain to someone. It's hard to put into words the level of greatness that you see when you see Clayton Kershaw, because I was lucky enough to watch his no-hitter on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And that...
So is that like your favorite moment? Like ever? Sports moment?
I don't know, because when I went to LA this summer with Leah, she took me to see a Dodgers game, and I was like really big on Matt Beatty. And I saw Matt Beatty that night get sent down to AAA, and then someone got hurt. I forget who got hurt, but then Matt Beatty was brought back, like while we were in the Uber on the way to Dodger Stadium. And I said, "Oh my God, Matt Beatty! Like he's back. I hope he plays tonight. I really hope he plays tonight."
Mm-hmm.
And my sister's like, "Cool." Like she's not that into sports, but like
Yeah.
she went for me.
Sports.
And, like I love her
Sports.
so much. Like.
Baseball games are fun, though.
Yeah, and
no
so
matter
we went,
what.
and that was the game that Walker Buehler threw the 16 strikeout complete game.
Really?
And,
wow, that's pretty cool.
And in the bottom of the ninth inning, it was like 2-2, and Max Muncy's up.
I remember
walks.
this game. I remember this game.
There were like 1 or 2 outs. Max Muncy walks.
Yeah.
And the person to hit the walk-off home run
was
Matt Beatty.
That's pretty cool.
Matt Beatty. I just felt so insane because I thought Muncy was going to do it. Yeah. Also, Cody Bellinger hit a home run that game. Cody Bellinger, Nolan Arenado, and Charlie Blackmon hit home runs that game. It's absolutely insane. Plus, like Brendan Rodgers played that day.
I love Brendan Rodgers.
He went to high school like really near us.
Yeah, he went to Lake Mary.
Yeah, he went to Lake Mary High School. He was like the bee's knees. You know,
my roommate is like one of his best friends, or my old roommate is like one of his best friends.
Yeah, like one of my friends,
Shout
like,
out
his older brother was like super good friends with him, and it's weird because like also one of my friends, Nate Peden, he's currently in the Mets organization, and at least to me, it's like weird seeing like your friend, like people who like you went over to their house, and, like you still play video games with, play professional, and then they go
play. Yeah. No, that's how my roommate felt when Brennan got called up, because my roommate's Brad, his dad was the coach of the team growing up, and his dad got Brendan like into the fold, and so Brad and Brendan grew up together, and so like Brad's dad brought Brendan into the game, and Brendan went on to go be the number 3 pick in the draft, and then he went to go play for the Rockies. Still kind of surreal, and then when he got called up, my roommate, who I was living with at the time, you know, he flew up to Philly to go see him play. So yeah, I was like, because I found myself rooting for Brendan a little bit too, because I was like, yo, that's my boy's boy. If you're my boy's boy, then you're my boy. So it's
so me and Nate actually have this bet from when he got drafted that he has to be in MLB The Show 2022, or he has to give me his first jersey, his first Major League jersey.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and that's kind of cool. I love that.
It's like one of the cool little friend bets.
Yeah, especially when you get to see your friends go be successful. So let me see whether we can get this with this. So why journalism? Well, when did you figure that out?
Courtney Hanks. Courtney Hanks is why.
Talk Courtney Hanks. Why Courtney Hanks?
Courtney Hanks was my yearbook advisor from my sophomore to senior year in high school. So
shout out Courtney Hanks.
Shout out Courtney Hanks, CJE.
CJE.
MJE now. Sorry.
MJ.
It's like a Master of Journalism Education. She passed the test.
Good for
she
her.
did a whole project.
Congrats, Courtney.
She's gonna be really upset with me if I.
Okay, congrats, Courtney. You got that master. Whatever. Yeah. You passed the test.
So my freshman year, going into my freshman year of high school, I put journalism as an elective, number like 11. It was either 11 out of 11 or 12 out of 12, like the last one I wanted to take.
And you got it.
And I got it. I wanted to do criminal justice.
It's kind of crazy.
I was like, I'm going to do criminal justice. Like, that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then, so I went through a journalism class. The thing about her is she's very, like, focused on, like, what's fair or not, which was great because I was able to exploit her because all of her rubrics were very much based on fair. So I was able to do the bare minimum in her class. But because I followed the rubric, she couldn't give me anything less than a 95. And she just got very upset. She got progressively more upset with me as time went on in that year.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, she was like, "You should apply for yearbook." And I was like, "No."
No. I don't want to. I want bare minimum Courtney Hanks. That's all I want to do.
I was like, the next week, she's like, "Hey, you're applying to yearbook." And she dropped the application off on my desk. And I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "I don't care. You're doing it." And so then I stayed in her class for lunch, and I filled out the application, and I wrote a little essay. She's got to write an essay. Writing,
bare minimum. Gross writing.
And then I got in. If I would have done all that and not gotten in, oh my God.
Look at all that time you ain't never getting back.
All that time writing that essay, doing the application that I would not have gotten back. Oh, God, I can't even imagine.
Okay, so you passed. You're in the yearbook.
I was the only guy in like 16 or 17 girls.
Yep.
And
you got all the ladies.
Oh God, I can't even imagine.
Hey, you're the Bachelor.
I ended up dating like one of them senior year, but like it was insane to me because like I grew up with like Leah and Marissa were in the house way more than Brandon was.
Yeah.
So the girls way outnumbered the guys, and so at least for me, I see all girls as just like friends, and which means that I'm also terrible at picking up on any sort of romantic signal. It's just so awful. Like, I would be like, "Hey, let's go back to my place." I would just be like, "Okay, are we gonna play Monopoly or Jeopardy?" Like, it's just so awful.
Okay.
Like, if
yeah. So I was gonna ask you that. So, I mean, yeah. So like, describe that. You're one dude in a 20. We're including Courtney Hanks. It's one dude and 20 girls. Like, how did that impact you?
So in the beginning, I was very scared. I was very on my toes about what can I say that could possibly get me in trouble? What don't I know about, like, what am I ignorant about? What do I not know? And
because not a lot of people can say that at your high school age.
I was,
and that shows your maturity.
I was scared of making a mistake. I was scared of saying something that would sound awful and maybe make all those girls hate me that I have to work with.
Yeah.
And at least for me, one of my biggest pet peeves about myself is if I'm going to start in a program like yearbook or like hitting the field, I don't want to like halfway do it.
You want to fully commit.
I want to fully commit. I want to
which is very opposite from your experience with the journalism class that you took. It's evolution.
And because I didn't want that class, but
you wanted yearbook. You wanted hitting the field.
Once I decided to do it, I was like, well, I'm not going to put myself out there.
When you set your mind to something, you do it.
I have to.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, in my back of my mind, it's always going to be, what if I would have tried harder? What if I would have,
Why do you think you think that way? Who instilled that on your brain?
I want to say...
Who do you credit for being that way?
I want to say my dad kind of stuck it in me a little bit as we grew up. It wasn't the forefront of his personality, but it was whatever. I'd be like, I don't really want to do that. Or like in baseball, I was like, I don't really want to go to practice. He's like, if you don't want to play baseball, that's fine. If you don't want to end up playing baseball, that's fine. But if you're gonna play baseball, you're going to all the practices.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play in this team, you're going to go to all the practices.
So like
you're gonna go to
it's so eerily similar to how I grew up with my dad. It was just crazy.
You have
but
to.
yeah, it's either 100 or 0. So yeah, I it's kind of spooky about how eerily similar it is.
I have to give a shout out to Courtney Hanks.
Shout out Courtney Hanks.
Husband Dustin Hanks.
Shout out Dustin.
The greatest boof. And Courtney and Dustin Hanks are probably the greatest influence on who I am today as a person.
Mm-hmm. How'd you meet Dustin? Was he like just someone that showed up in Courtney's class, or was he a teacher at UHS?
And he's become definitely like a father figure and a mentor to me. And I am way, way more concerned with letting them down than my own parents down, than anybody in my family down.
Wow. Because
they just mean so much to me.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
That's big for someone to have that big of an impact. I mean, that's not to slight your parents or anybody in your family, but that's a testament to Courtney and Dustin right there. So, but why? Why that?
Because I'm just going to call her Kohler because that's what I call her. Calling her Courtney feels weird.
Kohler.
It still feels weird.
All right, we'll call her Kohler from now on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kohler.
That was her maiden name. That's what we all called her as a teacher.
Okay.
Because
so they recently got married.
Yeah. That's so they got married in my sophomore year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they got married in like November of my sophomore year, like right at the beginning.
All right.
They vacation. Oh, so Dustin works for like the airline. He works for Delta.
Mm-hmm.
And,
the airline, yeah.
Yeah, the airline. Yes.
The airline.
The only airline.
The Delta Airline.
Delta Airlines.
Okay.
So they can fly for free to places. So that helps with their travel expenses.
Right.
So they got married in Mexico, a big destination wedding.
You didn't get invited.
No, I didn't get invited.
Neither did I.
No.
How dare they?
We weren't there yet.
We weren't on that level.
We weren't on that level yet.
Okay.
No. But I swear to God, if they renew their vows and I'm not invited, so help me. If they renew their vows in Mexico and I am not invited, it's okay.
So why are they this big of an impact on you?
Because Kohler was the first person that was really able to tell me when I wasn't doing my best. She knew without even looking at me whether I was trying. She knew without looking at me whether I was sad, whether I was happy, whether I was feeling included, feeling good about myself, feeling good about my work.
Mm-hmm.
She had such a way with words that I felt like I had to do good in that class. I had to, bust my butt. I had to do the best I could with every single story. And she was always there pushing me, especially when I didn't want to, because during my senior year of high school, my parents split up and my mom moved to Maryland. And that was essentially right after like I got the editor-in-chief position, or co-editor-in-chief, because there was another girl with me. But it was right after I was handed all that responsibility, and I was very scared about doing it. I was very scared about being in the lead of something because I just didn't feel like I could do it. I wasn't confident at all. I was so scared that I was going to be the reason that we had a bad book, because we were like a nationally like a accredited yearbook, and our journalism program was like top of the line. Like after Courtney Hanks came in.
Kohler.
But I was so scared of letting her down, letting the people under me down. Especially with that, it all culminated into this 3 or 4 month period where I just was not happy with anything. I wasn't talking to my friends as much. I wasn't being...
You were in like a hole.
I was very much in a hole.
Yeah. And
Kohler and Dustin, they really did drag me out of that hole. They brought me back, because thinking back on it now, if they weren't there, or if I wasn't in yearbook, I don't know where I'd be. I wouldn't be in college. I can tell you that.
Wow.
I wouldn't have been able to fill out my FAFSA. I wouldn't have been able to do anything. I wouldn't have been able to even know anything of what I wanted to do in the world or the type of person that I wanted to be. I wouldn't be anything.
Do you feel like maybe your parents splitting up made you become more independent? How much?
Very much so.
And do you think that it matured you more? How did it mature you more?
So I would always call myself rather independent as a person because, I started umpiring when I was like 16, 17. I started making my own money, and I don't like asking other people for money. If I'm going somewhere, I want to pay for myself.
Me too.
I don't want to be a burden on others. That's a very big part of my personality. I don't like being someone who can bring others down. I like being someone who can bring others up.
Yeah.
I hate being, especially when I see myself starting to get negative, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like being in that state of mind.
Have you always been that way?
I don't know. I don't know. I think so. I hope so. I was definitely way more negative earlier in my life than I am now.
Yeah. I thought so. It's hard. It'd be hard to not be.
Oh God.
But yeah, talk about it more, or take your time, or whatever. This is your time. This is your chance.
Can I get a prompt? I'm kind of.
So, how did your parents splitting up make you more mature?
I would say it definitely made me, I would say, more aware of how bad life can be, how bad that your situation can be, and how bad that you can let that situation get.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really talk to anybody about it. I remember when Kohler found out, we were at one of the yearbook conventions. It was like a weekend getaway, and so the getaway was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were at a convention center.
Yeah.
And we had to move houses on the Thursday following that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just casually flipping it out because like one of my friends was like, you're texting your dad a lot, is everything good? I was like, oh yeah, we have to move. And they're like, oh, what happened? And Chloe's like, oh, what happened? I was like, oh, my mom left.
Well,
she's like, what?
Say it like that, yeah.
She's like, what? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't really talk to anybody about it.
Do they know your parents? Does Kohler know your parents?
Yes, Kohler's met my parents multiple times.
Okay. Did it surprise you?
What?
Did it surprise you that your parents split up?
No. Not at all.
So this was something that was like ongoing.
I always figured that my parents were going to be the parents who stuck together until I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
Because their marriage isn't the strongest by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're living together now.
Oh, they are?
Which, honestly, I think it's a bad idea.
So when did they move back together?
December.
Oh. Okay. Do you think they're trying to get back together?
They're trying to make a life together.
Okay. That's respectful.
Which I respect it, but
Yeah.
Because they lived apart for a little bit, and then my mom didn't necessarily have enough money because my mom bought a house about 10, 15 minutes away from where me and my dad were living.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't necessarily have enough money to keep paying for that house.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved back in together. I don't think it's a good idea for them to live together.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to... I want it to work.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind,
Do you feel pressure by that?
No.
That's good.
I don't...
Do you think that maybe Marissa feels that?
No.
That's good.
Marissa's been out of the house for a while.
Yeah. That's good though.
But we both knew there were signs, both obvious and not, that it wasn't going to work out the way they were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me feels like I should have talked to Marissa more about that, or just talked to anybody more about that when it was going on, because I felt like I had to bear that on myself. I didn't blame myself for the split, but I didn't feel like I could go to anybody else about it because they weren't like there for it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I had to, put my big boy pants on and figure it out. Which, looking back, that was a terrible idea.
Yeah. Do you think that all of that has led up to this moment? So, like, in this moment right now, how has that changed you? Are you happy with the Johnny that sits here right now?
Yes. I am
good.
More than happy with the Johnny Jackson that sits here right now. I'm happy with how busy I am. I'm happy with my friends. I'm happy with hitting the field. Last semester was the happiest that I've been.
That's how first semester of college should be.
In general.
That's how it was for me. It's for a lot of people.
In years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know, I want to not necessarily hold on to that, but kind of build on that. Because at least with hitting a field, I feel like all the work that I'm doing, and you can physically see that all the work you're doing is actually going towards something. You're a part of something way bigger than yourself. Because at least the past few weeks I've been in audio, and I've messed up a couple times. Everybody's messed up a couple times, but it's so
I'll
rewarding.
say this. Yeah, I mean, we've had Charlie here for a long time, and he's the audio guy. Shout out to Charlie.
I love you, Charlie.
But you have picked it up, and you've picked it up pretty quickly, and I'm very impressed and proud of where you've been and how much you've improved in just the few short weeks that you've been in there.
So my biggest issue, and we talked about it a couple minutes ago, is when something else messes up, I can live with it. But when I make a mistake,
you're very hard on yourself.
Could have been fixed. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate when I mess up.
You're your own worst critic.
100%. I've been like that since birth.
Mm-hmm.
I hated the way I cried as a baby.
Same. No.
Have you heard your own baby cry?
No.
I don't think I have.
No.
I
was told by my parents I didn't really cry as a baby, to be honest. I was a happy child.
I talked really early and just wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, I believe that. But I mean, look, you're still very young. Like I have to remind myself how young you are sometimes, because you don't carry yourself like a freshman. You really don't. I mean, I've been here 4 years. I'm a dinosaur at this point, but I have to remind myself that you're a freshman sometimes, just because I've seen, like, just because I don't see you as that. I don't see you as a freshman, which is kind of strange. It's strange.
What do you mean by that?
I just think the way, like I'm glad that we got to do this, because now, like, because I see you as you come across as a very confident person, and I see why now. Because the thing is, we all have these moments in life that really, shape us, that really, that knock us down so that we have to build ourselves back up. And most people, that happens to them in college. For some of us, though, it happens in high school. And that's why high school is so difficult.
And another thing that's really, because you talked about how I'm more confident. I'm much more confident than I was in middle and high school, because shout out to Caden Reeves, because he was the first person that kind of showed me that guys can wear fun colors and not have to worry about what people think. Guys can like musicals. Guys can go to musicals together without it being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And still, because there's obviously the stigma in yearbook that you're the one guy with all the other girls, that you're like, oh, you have to be gay. You have to be gay if you're in yearbook. You have to be gay if you like bright colors. You have to be gay if you like musicals.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've definitely experienced that because you are gay.
Very opposite. But I mean, no, I get that. And
I was so afraid of people thinking I was gay when I was younger.
Yeah. So was I.
I was very afraid of it.
I mean, it was true with me. It wasn't true with you. I mean, yeah.
But Caden was the first person that showed me that, because he's very much I don't care what you think of me. I'm going to do what I think is cool. I'm going to wear the clothes I want to wear. I'm going to experience the media I want to experience, and I'm going to be proud of it. And without Caden, I would definitely not be as proud
Don't give a damn.
as I was.
Respect.
Because I'm literally wearing like rainbow Crocs right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you've seen the
so am I.
You've seen the
I have rainbow shoes too.
You've seen the multicolored sweatpants.
Yep. It's the loudest thing in the room, but that's part of the reason why. That's part of the reason why you're the best. But
I would never even dream of wearing those if it weren't for Caden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know.
So, I just, for whatever reason, I think when I first met you, for whatever reason, remind me a lot of my family. Like, you and my brother are very similar. Very similar.
Is that good or bad?
Well,
it's positives and negatives.
On the right day. But, I mean, like, y'all both play baseball, and you and I, our dads are not American. Your dad's Jewish, so is mine. It came down to my generation too. It just didn't make its way to your generation. But I see you, and I see you're a light. You're a light, bro. And I want you to, because that's a gift that not everybody has. Not everyone can go into a room and make it brighter, but you can. You can. And this is why. We spent the last 45 or so minutes, and we've gone through your evolution, your growth, and up to this point. So what I want to ask you right now, what do you see in the future for you? Like, I know you're still very young, but like, and it's a corny question, but Johnny Jackson at 30, what do you want to see in Johnny Jackson at 30?
Well, I think I need to take it step by step. I think even in every class, like, I haven't told Brunson this, but
Shout out Brunson. Maybe he'll listen to this and now you can tell him.
Maybe. I want to be the best goddamn journalist in that Principles of Journalism class. There is probably 100 people in there, give or take, probably less.
You want to stand out.
Yeah. He had like Nelly, I forget what her last name is, but he had her speak, and she's like a freshman like me. And I want to be the best damn journalist in that classroom. I want to be the best damn journalist in this entire program. Because at least for me, if I'm not shooting to be the absolute best in the room, then I'm going to settle for being the worst. Or for being middle of the pack. And being a middle of the pack graduate isn't going to get me a middle of the pack job. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't end up being the best or most accredited or most skillful journalist, I will be happy at the end of the day knowing that I was the best damn Johnny Jackson that I could be.
Respect.
And part of the thing that I pride myself on, at least in the journalism world, is that I don't necessarily have to stick to sports. I know that sports is a great platform and it can get you a lot of jobs, but I pride myself on being able to talk about theater. I pride myself on being able to talk about anime and video games and like quote unquote nerd culture. I pride myself on being able to talk about a lot of different things and relate that to other things that people can hear of. I can relate theater and sports and video games to each other and kind of introduce people to a new side of entertainment, a new side of media that they may not have experienced before. And for me, the ideal job for me is somewhere where I can talk about all of those things. I don't necessarily want to be just a sports writer, because at least to me, it would feel like cutting off a part of myself.
Because that's not all of who you are. It's part of you, but it's not all of you. And yeah, I mean, a lot of us in the program, we are very sports people, and Hitting the Field is a sports brand. That's why we incorporate, that's why I asked you about the Dodgers and all that, and we were able to get that in there. And, that's what Hitting the Field is. But something that I've learned throughout college, a professor told me this, is that, and I think this week is with Kobe passing and all of that, the three things that can bring people together are music, tragedy, and sports. And tragedy brought us together this week with Kobe. And sports brought people together with Kobe. And sports brought people together with hitting the field. And sports brought you and me together in this booth right now. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Greatest fist bump of all time.
I just... Thank you. Thank you for coming in here and sharing your story. It's not easy to do. It's not easy for anybody to do, but I think it's important. Because at the end of the day, we are Hitting the Field, but Hitting the Field is a journalistic organization, and journalism is about people at the end of the day.
And my biggest thing was, I didn't know, even talking to like Whitley outside. Also, shout out to John Whitley, because
Love John Whitley.
I honestly didn't think I was gonna like John Whitley when I first saw him, because he kind of at first glance kind of looks like a jock who's like kind of mean.
He is a jock.
He's like
nice
the nicest jock I've ever met.
He's a great guy. And so I can't wait to get him in here to do one of these.
So I literally texted him within the first week of coming back, because like I'm a bigger kid. I've grown up a bigger kid. And I know John Whitley grew up a bigger kid, and he lost a lot of weight. And so I texted him.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I texted him, and I said, hey, I know you lost a lot of weight. Do you have any advice for someone who's trying to do it, who's trying to be more committed to making a change in their life?
See, that's you and me right now too, because I'm trying to shed some pounds too, 2020.
And try and just be healthier, because I know that I definitely eat like crap.
Oh, so do I, but it's so good. It's so good.
But like I've made changes.
That's good.
I've started making changes, and I know that it's not going to change in a day. It's not going to change in a month. It might not even change in a year, but I can take steps. Like I've taken steps this month, and I can continue to take steps to make myself better physically, better mentally, better emotionally. And in doing this podcast, I wasn't sure how much I wanted to share about me, and about like my past, and about, some of the family issues. But I realized that if I'm not authentic in this first episode, if I'm not the truest me that I can be, then I can't expect everyone else to be their most authentic selves, because I feel like if we are always hiding parts of ourselves from each other, then we'll never necessarily, I don't want to say be as close, but we'll never understand each other as much as we could and as much as we should, because we're here every Friday, every Monday, and a lot of times during the week for basketball games, ale house. If we're going to be in such close proximity for that much time, we should understand each other. We should understand where we come from. We should understand what we believe, how we show ourselves to other people. Mm-hmm. And that's just very important to me.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess that's a good place to stop. I couldn't have said it better myself. Johnny, thank you again. You're a great guy. And I want you, and, being that it's my last semester, I'm someone that wears my emotions on my sleeve. And,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
You have very full sleeves.
Not today. I mean, I got a little skin showing, but, I'm someone that's I'm very reflective on a lot of things. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this, because I want to make sure that the people that I'm here, like, just because it's my last semester doesn't mean that, these friendships, this family, this brotherhood ends. Because, like, the people that I met at Hitting the Field my first semester that have been, gone for a couple years now, I still talk to those guys. I mean, it's not as frequent as it was here, but, I mean, my first year at Hitting the Field is the one I won't forget. Just because that was the one year that I felt very much that, like, I have a family again here. And that's what you're feeling right now. That's what you're getting to experience right now. So I just I want there to be that for everybody, especially with how many new people we have.
No, Hitting the Field is home.
It is. It is. So if you would like to join Hitting the Field, just give us a call. Although we do have a lot of people. 888 crying emoji. And I can fix your sports misery too. Anyway, but I find myself talking in circles right now, so I'm gonna close it off right here. But you can catch more episodes of Hitting the Crew later on in the semester. We also have the Hitting the Field podcast. You can check that out on our YouTube channel. Go subscribe now, or you can catch us on Apple Podcasts. We will also be back on Monday with a new episode of Hitting the Field. We'll be talking Super Bowl recap and a little bit of basketball. First basketball of the season, so that's pretty exciting. And might I add, Hitting the Field, might I add, Kyle Partain and Chris Wolf talked about the Pro Bowl basketball season and a little bit of cheerleading, making an appearance on the show for the first time. So, National Championship cheer team here at UCF. Congrats to the cheer team.
They're so good.
They are really good. They are fantastic. So
champion level.
Yeah, so they talk about that. So go check that out on our YouTube page as well. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hitting the Field. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Johnny, keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're gonna do great things. I feel it. And again, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side. See you next time.